Hello everyone, welcome back to Luke's Anime Talk, where I go over some of the most recent anime I've been watching. Just before I start, I uploaded a review for Nope, so if you're interested in that, go give that a watch. And make sure to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all future uploads. But for this video, I'll be looking at Netflix's new Cyberpunk Edgerunners, episodes 1 through 5. So make sure to look out for a part 2 after this video. But for this video, we're starting off with episode 1. So we witness someone going around killing police, but it's actually a video memory of our main character David, who is watching it. David and his mum live in the rundown estates of Night City. At school, David cheaps out on all his upgrades, so during class his tech crashes the system. His mum has to pay for all the damages. On the way home, they are stuck in the middle of a car shootout and they end up crashing. While his mum recovers in hospital, David has to deal with the late rent, medical bills, and getting assaulted by the school bully. Unfortunately, his mum dies after complications and he has her cremated. With all the stress and anger, David goes to his Ripper dock and has him install a military-grade spine gear he found in his apartment. So this is a crazy first episode and introduction to the world of Cyberpunk in anime form. It's ultra-violent. Trigger, the studio that does the animation, doesn't hold back at all on any of the violence and how gruesome and grotty this city is. The people are just some of the worst types of people. There's vomiting in the streets, killing everyone. It is not a nice place, nice city, and this episode gives you a good idea and sums up how horrible this place is and how it's not a good place to grow up at all. So looking at episode 2, David has a spine tech implanted, and with his new abilities, goes to school and punches the bully square in the face, breaking his nose. The boy's father, who is a higher up, sees the video and is told David's compatibility with the tech would make him an excellent subject for their tests. David is depressed and wanders around the city after his mother's death. David runs into a girl, Lucy, who's stealing chips out of people's neck on the train, and they partner up to get more. After David's nose bleeds and he passes out, they have a crazy ambulance trip, and he ends up having to go to his Ripper dog again. He was meant to be taking immunosuppressants for the spine tech, and is told not to use the tech more than 3 times a day. During all the craziness on the train, he ended up using it 8 times in total. That's why he had the nosebleed and had the adverse effect to it. They go back to Lucy's and they spend the night in VR, but are interrupted by someone claiming the spine tech is his, and he punches David square in the face. This is a cool episode again, because obviously we get to see David get the spine implanted in his back. It is a nasty scene when he gets the spine implanted, because they literally rip his normal spine out, and there's blood everywhere, it's dripping everywhere. It doesn't look like he's got any anesthetic. You can see it on his face, you can feel the pain, and they just plant the tech into his back, and it just becomes part of him now. And this girl Lucy, she's an interesting character. She seems to be like a pickpocket almost for tech. She goes around taking the chips out of people's necks and selling them. And these people at the end are some interesting people. They look very robotic, to say the least. So it's going to be interesting to see how they play into this overall story. So moving on to episode 3, it's revealed David's mum was the people's contact, and they are cyberpunks or edgerunners. To make up for taking the spine tech, Maine and his crew let David join and work with them. The first job is to get data from a limo driver, but when things go sideways, they have to steal the limo instead. After a car chase on the motorway, they escape their pursuers and deliver the limo with the data. The academy principal keeps contacting David, and eventually David just tells him to piss off, as he doesn't want anything to do with the school anymore. David, Maine and his crew celebrate a successful job with drinks. This is a cool introduction to this crew now that David's a part of. You've got Maine, who's the big, bulky, but he's basically more or less a cyborg at this point, because he's full of tech all over his arms and his body and his face and everything. And his crew is just full of these edgerunners who basically do jobs for the underground and steal from the higher-ups in the society. And this limo had data that they needed to get, and they had a funny way of getting around to it in the end, but they ended up getting it and getting the job done. And now David has a goal in life now, and not just wandering around and being depressed because of his mother's passing. He actually has a goal and something to strive for now, which is really what his mum wanted him to have, a goal in life. Okay, and now for episode 4. The episode starts with David in slow-mo with everyone on the attack. The first half focuses on David training, doing jobs, and getting used to the cyberpunk lifestyle, including getting a new set of lungs from the Ripper dog. David talks with Maine about guns and Lucy. During a night out, Pillar is killed by a cyber psycho and starts launching rockets at the others. This is from the start of the episode, so it's all going in slow motion, and David is like in complete shock and stunned, and he doesn't know what to do because his teammate, Pillar, literally got his head exploded out of nowhere. Everyone starts attacking, and when the cyber psycho attacks Lucy, David shoots him in the head, and Maine punches his head to finish him off. Lucy gets patched up, and when David escorts Lucy home, they spend the night together. This was a crazy episode because you think, oh, this is a set team and they're professionals, they know what they're doing, and this random homeless guy who's just peeing onto a barrel doesn't look intimidating. His eyes are glitching out, so you know there's something wrong with him. And when Pillar goes up to him, this cyber psycho just puts his wrist up to his head and blows it clean off. It is a violent scene because it's come out of literal nowhere, and this bloke was kind of just muttering to himself, and Pillar was just like, oh yeah, whatever. And everyone has to go on the attack and try and save as many people as they can because Lucy was in a desperate spot, and David just went out to help her and stop all of it from happening. Okay, and on to the last episode of this video, episode 5. The group is trying to get Tanaka, the father of the bully and the limo owner, but have no leverage. David realises Tanaka is into the cyber psycho death videos by the creator JK, so plan to get Tanaka through him. Tanaka gets personal in-person videos from JK, so they go to kidnap JK, but he sets off an EMP and runs with the unconscious David. David is put through video torture, but is saved by Lucy and Dorio. They capture JK. Tanaka arrives for his appointment with JK, but the team surround him. Tanaka puts up a fight, but Maine knocks him out. JK dies from a stray projectile from Tanaka, but as he dies, smiles at David. So again, it was a crazy episode. Like the tech that all these people have is amazing. Because Tanaka put his hands up, and his hands and wrists let out tons of needles and little projectiles, and it was crazy because everyone had to duck and cover, and that's what killed JK. And JK's tech was cool. He had a little device on his belt that shot off this EMP, and everyone just knocked out. Maine, David, everyone was like, whoa, what's going on? And they just all got clocked out, and he ran. And I love the tech in this world. The violence, it goes greatly along with it, and I'm looking forward to see what other crazy tech abilities we can find in the rest of the series. And I'm looking forward to see how this series progresses, because I've got a feeling we're going to come across some more cyber psychos and how that's going to affect the team as a whole. So it should be good how that happens. But yeah, I'm having a great time with this series so far. Trigger is a great animation studio, and if you haven't seen any of their projects before, I recommend going and watching them and this, because they're just top tier animation. But yeah, if you like this kind of bloodshed and techno noir stuff, you're going to love this series because it's top tier animation and storytelling, along with the characters as well. So yeah, that's all from me. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe to keep up to date with all future videos, especially I'll be doing a part 2 for this, for episodes 6 through 10, so make sure to look out for that. And until next time, I will see you all later.